everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. Today's video shares the explanation for the 32nd hexagram in I-Ching called enduring. So on the surface, enduring means, oh, I have to constantly work on this, about grit, not giving up. But that's actually a common misunderstanding. It's too surface level of an explanation. Because if you think it's only about not changing and wavering, you would naturally think the triagram making up this hexagram will be more earth type of triagram, like mountain or earth, right? They're more sitting still, not changing, not moving. But if you look at the hexagram of this one, the external one is thunder. Thunder is all about moving, changing, taking initiative and do something new. And the internal triagram is wind. Wind is penetrating. It changes directions constantly. It's very adaptable and flexible. So how do we explain the point of using this type of more changing in nature image to describe a hexagram? That means constant, enduring, persistent. So that's kind of the wisdom of this hexagram. It's actually talking about the balance between the core and your external method. Because the inner core, totally you should be consistent, unwavering, stick to it. As long as it follows the law of the universe, it's the righteous direction, and it's not harming people, then it's worth sticking to. It's a changeless core. But on the surface, the methodology can be super flexible. It might change with different timing, change with the trend. So it's emphasizing this balancing act between the external movement and to better support the unchanging core. So that's the wisdom of this hexagram. So using a real life example, thinking about people's New Year goal of losing weight or getting healthy, right? That's a righteous goal. So in order to support this goal to last longer, to be enduring rather than most people just give up, the external methodology can be super flexible, like the wind and the thunder, to change and move, be adaptable. So rather than just sticking to one thing, like I don't like running and I force myself to run 1 kilometer per every other day, whatever the goal is, it's actually very difficult to adhere to that rigid schedule and not giving up. However, if you try to be more add more fun into it, like one day I'll do yoga, the other I'll jump ropes, the second day I'll just walk on the treadmill while watching TV, right? So the surface level methodology and approach is very dynamic, with a lot of movement and energy. But in reality, because you're able to be so dynamic in your method, you're better supporting this internal goal of long-lasting, non-changing, achieving a really good goal. So that's the point of the 32nd hexagram. But honestly, when we go through this individual line, most of them are fairly negative. It's either like misfortune or you'll incur failure. And we can dive deeper into the why. Most of the time, it's either you're sticking to the wrong path, right? Your core is against the law of the universe. Of course, that even though you're sticking to it, the more you stick to it, the worse it gets. Or you're not really honoring the spirit of balancing this external flexibility with the internal unchanging core, your core principle, your core goal. That should be unwavering. So that's the why behind individual failures. So let's take a look at the first line. This is the initial line. It's the in line, and it's part of this wind basic triagram. So the default characteristic of wind is very penetrating. It likes to blow into everything and penetrate into an object. So it has this tendency of, I don't want to put in the gradual work and gradually achieve something. I just want to jump to conclusion. I want to put in too much, so that I don't have to put in the hard work, the long work. It's more almost like taking a shortcut to try to get to the result. Because of that over eagerness and impulsiveness to get to the end result so quickly, no matter what it takes, that's a deviation of the righteous way. Because it's a deviation, the more you stick to this method, the worse you will get into failure, because it disrupts the natural growth. Natural growth is all about step by step, gradually doing it, so that will be more long lasting. If you're more making a hasty, impulsive, over-eager decision, you might get to the result, but it will vanish very quickly. And that's totally against the point of how to get to an enduring and long-lasting result. So that's why this one is bad. The second one is a yang line sitting in the even-numbered second position. So it's a misfit, meaning that you might run into potential difficulty or challenges, hurdles in whatever you're asking. But it's a reminder that as long as you can bring back the balance of being flexible on the outside, whereas adhere to core principles on the inside, you should be able to change the bad situation of regret into a neutral position of vanishing the regret. Because it's in that second position, it's the middle way. So it's reminding people of that eternal balance. Once you are able to constantly practicing this balance, you should be able to achieve a better outcome, but it's still not like super positive. It's more just changing from something negative and move the degree back to the neutral zone. The third one is a bad one too, because this is the ending stage of the wind triagram. It's very wishy-washy, it's wavering. Wind just changes directions whenever. So this is an obvious one that inside at your core, your principle level, you're not sticking to it. You're easily swayed by other factors. This inconstancy will incur danger. It's actually you might put yourself in a shameful and regretful situation, and whatever you're trying to do, because of your wavering mind and lack of strong principle at the core, you won't achieve any success, and nobody will really treat you with respect. That's the end outcome, because of that, again, opposite philosophy of this enduring wisdom. The fourth one, also a bad one for a different reason. This one is saying at the field you're trying to hunt for prey, and rather than sitting still and waiting for the right moment, you're too impatient, you rush and making noise because you're not able to sit still. And that scares away your prey. So however hard you try, this whole thing will have no gain, no positive result, no achievement. So it's more emphasizing that you're using the wrong approach in doing something, either maybe relating yourself to the wrong partners in a business adventure or like a marriage situation. Human relationship is the wrong choice, or the methodology you're taking in this action is totally off target. Because of that, it will result in fruitless effort. The fifth one, this one is a situational one. It's fascinating because the line just says female is positive, male is negative. What the heck does that mean? That's like historical context. Because in ancient Chinese culture, like females couldn't work. Their job is to support their family. It's very internal, family focused. So as long as they follow their husband or the leader at that time, you have this internal unwavering determination to have faith in them, have loyalty in them, and just follow them. You will have a very fortunate and positive outcome. However, for the guy, which symbolizes anybody who's in a leadership or a position of power, if you take that same approach of yin, even though you're in this fifth position of king, the power, if you also kind of act like I just need to follow other people's opinion, whereas you're the one who should make the call, that will result in gigantic failure, because you're not basing your decision on the righteous principle, and also in combination with the external flexibility, right? Evaluate the market condition, evaluate the timing. Is it the right timing? That's the two factors the decision maker should take into to make a call and move forward so that other people can follow you. But if you were in that decision maker role and you just don't have your own independent judgment, instead you listen to people who are beneath you, who surround you with their random input, that's a very dangerous position to be in. So this one is more expanding from the old female male. It's saying based on your role in the situation. If you were the leader, naturally it will be negative because this is a yin line. It's a reminder message to say that you have to make independent judgment. However, if you're in a supporting role or follower role, as long as you can adhere, consistently follow this person, you will have a very positive outcome. This is very situational based. Last one is bad too. This is the ending stage, the sixth one, right? The sixth line is the ending stage of anything. At that point, it's about wrapping up. You're at the finale. It's about ending. But instead of calmly ending it and putting it still so that we can be enduring and lasting, we're almost done with it. I mean, at that stage, the person decided to change direction, move around, make constant, frequent changes, or like not able to, or like rather than tying a pretty bow and wrap it up, like, oh, how about this? And then this whole thing evolve into another project or another direction without completion first. That's the situation, because it's the ending stage of the thunder triagram. Thunder is all about moving. When you're supposed to end, you're still moving. Of course, that will result in misfortune and failure. So if you land on this one, the advice should be just stay still. Finish what you started before you get distracted into kind of a new adventure or like a sequential action. So that's the explanation for the 30-second hexagram in I-Ching, enduring. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.